Welcome back to No Contest, Stab and Red Bull's deep dive into the cultural richness, the unique charm, and the radical local characters that make each of the 11 stops on the World Championship Tour special. On this episode, we're crowning world champions in Hawaii at the final stops on the 2019 World Tour, the Maui Pro at Honolua Bay and the Pipe Masters. With a brief interruption from the Jaws Big Wave Championships, this is No Contest Hawaii. Leaving Portugal, it's a 12 to 15-hour flight from Lisbon through San Francisco or Los Angeles, before a 6-hour flight 2,390 miles from the coast of California to the most isolated population center in the world, Hawaii. From Honolulu International, it's a 45-minute drive through the iconic pineapple and sugarcane fields of Oahu's North Shore, before you get your first glimpse of Haleiwa and the so-called 7-Mile Miracle. For decades each winter, surfers from every corner of the globe have made annual Hawaiian pilgrimages. From November to December, the population on Oahu's North Shore easily doubles, and the friction between the visitors and locals is often palpable. For surfers living in the houses from sunset to log cabins, avoiding the very real and truly heavy vibes that many encounter is a matter of simply being aware and disciplined about local customs. Of Aristotle's 12 virtuous pillars, in Hawaii, honor, reverence, admiration, and respect comes first, especially for the surfers who pave the way, guys like Pipe Masters Derek and Michael Ho. For Hawaiians, like many proudly indigenous communities around the world, respect for your elders is tops.
When I was younger, ain't no one walking through that door, you know what I mean? You ain't no geek off, there's Johnny Boy, Derek, Jerry, Dinky Aloha, heavy duty, you know what I mean? You ain't going through that door, you know? And I don't know if people know their history or kids nowadays, I hope they realize how fortunate any of those people are to get to stay any of those houses. Anyone complains, it's like, you little you take the trash out, I don't give a how much money you make or what you are, you don't know how heavy this place is.
That said, don't burn the groms. Even better, shout them into some bombs. Their dads are probably on the beach filming. Whether on Cam Highway or the bike path, the line at Foodland or the Kahuku food trucks, the Sunrise Shack or getting into the Sunset Lot, patience is another most important virtue. Really want to impress the locals? Learn a little of the local dialect. Drop your D's for common mainlander verbiage like smoked fish and shaved ice, and do your best to pronounce Hawaiian names.
The Hawaiian state fish name, oh my god, humu, unu, kunu.
Kunu. Kaupau?
Say it one more time.
Humu, nuku, nuku, apua.
Humu, hunu, unu.
Yeah, nah. Humu, nuku, nuku, apua.
How long did it take you to learn how to pronounce that?
I'm
Because
Hawaiian.
everybody, when I show it to people
It's
think
like
that I'm
your
joking.
first word.
No. Other than that, keep the sand out of the houses and leave your slippers at the door, and your Hawaiian reality can be the dream you always imagined. Play your cards right, put in your time, and you'll be welcomed back with open arms each year.
Pipeline, it might only be a little fraction of the surfing world, but that fraction means a lot more than anything else. Pipeline is the holy grail, and all these religions come together to surf. We all have one thing in common: pipeline. It ain't no joke. As soon as you think it's, you don't respect it, bam, you're getting smoked. If you want to be a respected surfer on the whole spectrum of a pro surfer, you do good in Hawaii, especially at Pipeline, you'll get respect around the world.
And no one knows that better than surfers like John Florence, Jamie O'Brien, Kelly Slater, and Jordy Smith. Surfers who have achieved their life's goal of owning one of the coveted beachfront plots between Rocky Point and log cabins.
Would you say that there's any real estate as prized in the surf world as the houses between log cabins and Rocky Point?
Oh, jeez, if you could get one of those nice houses at J-Bay, that'd be pretty bomb. Early on in my career, I thought about, it would be amazing to be able to live here. And then like I said, when the opportunity came up for me, I couldn't turn it down. I think my old man was pretty stoked, maybe more than me. He was like ready to build a tent in the yard. Oh, really? You would have just been importing South Africans just to come and live over there.
Have you started to feel more like a loke dog now that you're here?
No, definitely not. I don't think that happens, you know? I think you just put in your time and you show your respects, and I think respect will be shown your way too. You know, I'm not looking to be the guy and try and overtake any of this. It's just want to have a good, happy life and get some fun waves, man. Yeah.
What house, if you could pick one off the beach, what would it be?
I kind of like the Volcom, the newer Volcom one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's design. Dead in front.
Yeah, you're pretty centered. You can see everything.
Built in 1980 on a plot purchased for something like 30 grand, Jerry Lopez's 3,000 square foot, 3-story, 4-bedroom pipeline throne has long been the most iconic residence on the North Shore. In 2007, Volcom swooped on the property to the tune of $4 million, sticking the stone flag firmly in the pipeline sand. This is probably the most iconic staircase in all of surfing. The stairs through the Jerry Lopez house, also known as the Volcom house. There's photos from like 30 years of pipe. There's one of Jerry Lopez's fins, and the most beautiful stained glass windows. And it fills the whole space with just like the prettiest, warmest light that it's hard not to feel nostalgic when you walk up these stairs.
To be at Jerry's house on the 3rd floor, it was like, wow, it was almost like overwhelming. I almost felt like, I'm like, fuck, I don't deserve it, you know? That's prime time real estate.
What's it like staying on the top floor of the Jerry Lopez house?
5 seconds remaining. It's amazing. It's an honor. It makes it even more special because it's Jerry's house in the past, and Jerry is the master of pipeline.
With backyards facing a handful of the most iconic waves in the world, the options for surfers who own or stay along the storied stretch can be almost overwhelming. And while a few are as heavy as waves come, some of the most playful, inconsequential waves on the North Shore are often a stone's throw from some of the most punishing.
So you have Rocky Point, you got the Ronnie Bowl, Rocky Lefts, Rocky Rides, Turkeys, Gas Chambers, Pupakea, Aokai, Beach Park Zone, you got Gums, Pipeline, Backdoor, Off the Wall, Insanities, Rock Pile, Castle Rock, and all that logs.
What's the most high performance wave on the North Shore?
Monster Mash.
Rubber duckies by 2 tables.
Rocky Point?
Rocky?
Probably.
Most high performance wave would be Rocky Point. Yeah, both rights and lefts. It seems to be the place where all the big stuff goes down. All the cameras and everything are there to capture those moments.
It's like the perfect amount of cup and bend back at you in like steepness, and it's like barreling, but it's not like a barrel that you can't hit the lip. Like you can kind of do anything you want on it.
On a good day, like if you had no one out there, it's 100% the best, one of the best ways to surf.
That one rock is like a magnet. I swear, no matter where you take off, you go to hit the end section of the rocks there. Every time.
I've seen guys like floater over the thing like Mason. Yeah, Mason. I think Mason aims for it actually. Yeah, Mason, he like aimed for that thing.
If the Pipe Masters is the ultimate dramatic stage for the men's championship tour, the long, often hollow running rights of Honolua is just that for the women. The perfect canvas for long, elegant brushstrokes. The beating heart of Hawaii's tourism industry and home to one of the densest concentrations of Jeep Wrangler and Mustang convertible rentals in the world. For the last 5 years, Maui has hosted the last event of the Women's Championship Tour. Just a 30-minute hop from Honolulu, Maui is Hawaii's second largest island, known as the Valley Isle because of the expanse between the western Maui Mountains and Haleakala, at 10,000 feet, the world's largest dormant volcano. From Kahului Airport heading west, the famous Road to Hana winds more than 620 turns and passes over 59 mostly one-lane bridges, while the route to Honolua heads east through Lahaina Town. Welcome to Lahaina Town. This was the capital of the Kingdom of Hawaii from 1820 to 1845, and the tree behind me, the largest banyan tree in the United States, was planted in 1873. It was 8 feet tall when they planted it, and now it's more than 60 feet tall with 16 massive trunks besides the main trunk, which is right behind me. It's very hot and very pretty and very crowded and very hard to park, but it's a very beautiful tree. Unfortunately, you can't climb it, which is what I did as a kid on banyan trees. Lots of hearts with initials. Presumably they drove Ford Mustang convertibles down here to carve their newlywed names into the tree. This place feels like the Disney World version of what I imagine most people thinking that Hawaii is like. Tons of little tourist shops and a million people in aloha shirts walking around with their families. For surfers, Maui is synonymous with two waves, Piahi, aka Jaws, perhaps the world's most perfect XXL wave, and the ruler straight, deliciously rippable Honolua Bay, where for the last few years the women on the CT have decided world titles at the last event of the year. Honolua Bay has been one of those holy grail waves since it was discovered in the mid-60s. And I've never been here. This is my first time to Maui, first time to Honolua Bay. Right now there's a northwest swell in the water. You can see guys getting little barrels in the bowl. It's supposed to get bigger. All the girls are in town getting warm-ups before the Maui Pro. The girls are gonna get started in about 3 days, and this is the best swell it looks like for the window. So we're gonna go check out one of the most iconic waves in the Hawaiian Islands. Let's go figure this out.
Oh, hello, miss.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. It's so sought after. You know, this place doesn't break so often.
I'd say anywhere like in the 4 to 6 range is like perfect Honolua.
It's got all the combinations you need. So tubes, turns, gnarly little like chip shot sections and wedges. But it's a beauty, but it's a rare diamond to have this place break. So enjoy it while it lasts.
Absolutely no other wave I'd want to be the last event than here in Honolua. Unless it was Beeline.
Sally out the back, 1, 2, 3.
Here in Honolua, it starts at subs, which no one's probably even looked at because it's a crazy wave. And then it turns into coconuts, which is very fun barrel. The point, a little softer, easier, slower. Then green light, the outside of the cave, and Kiki Bowl. The green light is it's the cave, but it's like where you sit on the really good day. Like if the boys are saying it's green light, it's the best ever.
Caroline Marks, Carissa Moore, and Lakey Peterson are locked in a pretty tight title battle.
Oh my God, it's been so funny surfing with all three of them every day, all three together every time. I feel like I'm their little like decoy to talk to, like, so they don't have to talk to each other. Sally agreed. She's like, oh yeah, it's hilarious. We're just the little ears. Oh yeah, and they're all very encouraging right now too. I feel like they're like feeling, I'm like, what if I draw you? No.
There's no reason to be stressed out. I mean, still, there's no reason to be stressed out. But if you look at the scenario, maybe there's a little reason to be stressed out.
I don't really think too much about that. I'm just like, whatever. It's just another surf contest, but there's a lot on the line. So, but it's actually funny because we came like a week ago, Lakey and I, and first off, Lakey and I have the same coach, so we're always surfing together. We pulled up and we saw Carissa there, and then we went back to North Shore and we were surfing sunset, and then we saw Carissa at sunset. It was pretty funny. I was like, oh my God, we're seeing each other everywhere. It's pretty classic. For me, they push me, so I like it actually. When they're ripping, I want to rip harder. So yeah.
While Stephanie Gilmore took home her 5th win at Honolua, Carissa Moore clinched her 4th world title in the early rounds, while Caroline Marks' 2nd place finish in 2019 means the arrival of the first of the next women's new school generation and a world title contender for what looks like the indefinite future. Back on the North Shore, the early rounds of the Pipe Masters were greeted with 2 days of good conditions, as Kalohe Andino, Jordy Smith, Felipe Toledo, Italo Ferreira, and Gabriel Medina narrowed down their title race, before a purple blob interrupted the proceedings, and the Jaws Big Wave World Championships were given the green light. The scramble from the North Shore to Jaws is a short but, challenging one. Turning onto the weather-chewed volcanic dirt track that leads to the Piahi Cliffs, you understand quickly why rental car agents make surfers promise not to take their rental cars off-road. We took the road less traveled, dodging vehicles stuck in the mud and avoiding the crowds at the top of the cliff with a walk through the cane fields and a perch in the jungle overlooking what is one of the true wonders of the surfing world.
First glimpse of Jaws. We left the North Shore at 4:30 this morning, got on a plane at 6. We were in Maui by 6:45, and it's about 7:30, and we're on the cliff of Jaws. First heat's underway, and it is way bigger than they thought it was going to be. I'm surprised that they're paddling. Yesterday, we got the green light that Jaws was going to run, and it looked like the Pipe Masters were going to be off for the day, and Jaws is breaking. You have to come see it at least once, and I'm glad we did because it's about as good as it gets, and 24 of the best big wave surfers in the world are about to compete for a world championship. Nathan Fletcher, Lucas Chianca, Russell Bierke, 3-time champ Billy Kemper, and yeah, we left the North Shore this morning. We'll be back on the North Shore tonight and ready for the world title to get decided tomorrow at Pipeline. So probably the most exciting 3 days of surfing of the entire year, I would say, for a lot of people. Why 2019? Let's watch some carnage.
After a full day's scramble, rough roads, muddy terrain, and one of the biggest days of competition that Jaws has ever seen, Paige Alms claimed her second Piahi win, while Ian Walsh and Nate Florence fell just short of Hawaiian Billy Kemper, who asserted his dominance for the 4th time, as well as winning a WSL Big Wave World Championship.
Well, I don't think we're going to be fooling the rental cart lady when she asked us if we took this off-road. Yeah, that's what these are made for. All these things do is drive around to like 5-star hotels. They belong off-road, goddammit. It's finals day of the 2019 Pipe Masters, the last day of competition for the 2019 World Tour.
World champion Kelly Slater about to hit the lineup.
With a quarterfinal finish, Kelly Slater won his 3rd Triple Crown, 21 years after wearing it last. Meanwhile, Gabriel Medina and Italo Ferreira climbed opposite sides of the Pipe Masters draw, with Gabe fanning the flames of nationalistic discontent, employing hyper-aggressive and arguably questionable tactics. But for the first time since Andy Irons beat Kelly Slater in 2003, the world title would be decided in the final of the Pipe Masters.
He comes out. Last chance, pull down. Here we go. Gabriel, picking up. He's in the barrel. He's traveling through. And Medina's coming out right outside. He's a little not improved on the left. Down the side there. Your Billabong Pipe Master champion and new world champion, Italo Ferreira!
Well, we hate to see it come to an end, but it was a hell of a finale. Congratulations to Billy Kemper, Carissa Moore, and Italo Ferreira. And thank you guys all for coming along for the last 11 months, and to all the surfers for tolerating our pepperings with random questions at each stop. The Dream Tour is exactly that, and we'll see you in 2020. Thanks for coming along. This has been No Contest 2019. Let's go to the airport.
Yeah.